Right, I'm starting recording now. You don't need to see me. I'll turn that off. I'll do a share and let's have a look. So what I'll do, I'll put the files in Easy Class afterwards, and I'll put a video on YouTube a bit later. So can you all see the screen? Can you see it so far? Yeah? Okay. Let me just make sure I've got the changes on. Okay, let's have a look. So first thing, we go to the task. Discharge to the patient's primary care physician. Okay. So that should therefore mean that the GP knows this person. So that therefore means we don't have to include a lot of background information. Yeah, because it's a primary care physician. So she's been in the psychiatric ward and you're writing to her own GP. So that therefore means, again, we don't have to include a lot of background information because, you know, the GP should already know this. Yeah. So that's one thing that the task has told us immediately. What is relevant for this particular case. Now, again, as I said a while ago, you know, every letter is different and should be treated as such. So we take a look here and we already know right from the start that we don't need to include a lot of social and medical history because we're writing to a GP and they either know this or they'll have it down on file, so we don't have to include it. So that's a good start. Okay, that's what we've got to do. So let's go with a start. So Miss Taylor, okay, she's been in for just over 2 weeks. Medical history, well, that's irrelevant. Social background, now that is pertinent. Yeah. Schizophrenia, likes a drink and a sniff. So, okay, that's possibly pertinent. Admission, self-admitted, not compliant. Okay. So all this stuff we need to include. All this stuff needs to be included. Agitated, patient ceased reporting, management, good progress. Okay, pretty straightforward so far. Now this is Dr. Gadd. I don't know if Dr. Gadd is around. Is he here? Because he wrote, right, well, what do you expect when when your name here is written in Arabic, which I can't read incidentally. Anyway, so this is the letter that you posted in Telegram, yeah? So we'll take a look at that. I wanted to inform you that Miss Taylor has been discharged from our psychiatric department today. This is after she has recovered. She has. Why is that present perfect? Or she recovered from a decompensated schizophrenia attack. Okay, now reason for writing. We're writing a discharge, okay, and we want to tell the GP what happened, yeah, during her stay in the ward. Now I have to say this. I'll just have a quick. This looks a little bit. Let me just check the word count. This looks a little bit short. What is it? Let's check the word counts. It's 184. Yeah, it does look short. That's 184 in the body of a letter. 184. It's a little bit short. Now, if it's too short, you might miss important information out. So that's not a good idea. Now, at least I would be aiming for at least 200. That 182, 200 thing, that's just, it's a nonsense. It's a recommendation, and OET themselves have said on numerous occasions there's no automatic penalty for writing more, as long as it's pertinent. You know, so that 180 to 200 words, like, it's a nonsense. But to write a proper, no, that's far too short, 180, that's far too short. To give a complete picture to the reader, I would say at least a couple of hundred. As I say, there's no automatic penalty. The criteria says if it's obviously too short or obviously too long. I had some letters a few weeks back and they wrote over 300 words, which is obviously far too long because they'd included everything, every piece of information, which is not what you're supposed to be doing. They want to see, again, as we've just seen in the criteria and the assessment, you know, they want you to be able to evaluate what is pertinent and what is not. Writing to inform instead of being discharged is after she has recovered or she recovered from a decompensated schizophrenia attack. Initially, Miss Taylor presented with a history of delusions, visual hallucinations, which were ordering her to harm herself. Now, let me just check the case notes because we want to make sure that we're not using the same language. Some people do, and that's not what you want to do. Division to self-harm. Okay, let's have a look. Okay. Recently commenced to run later on, showing good improvement. Decrease, she has good insight and judgment now. Chronic mental illness. In the state of chronic, I thought that chronic means it's not so good. Is that the right phrase? Can somebody advise me here? I thought that if someone is chronic, it's quite serious. But here you say she's shown good improvement and she's good insight and judgment and is now in a state of chronic mental illness. Does chronic here mean what I think it does? Can somebody advise me? Can somebody comment? Does chronic mental illness mean that it's a severe state of mental illness? Because if so, it seems as a contradiction. Yeah. She's improved, her judgment's good, her insight's good. Chronic means for a long period of time. Okay, well, so we know this though. You know, it's now in a state of chronic. She wouldn't be admitted. So this is a bit confusing to the reader. A little bit confusing as to what that means exactly. So I would try and reword that. However, her condition might deteriorate from medication abuse of substances again. Okay, now you haven't mentioned anything about substance abuse. Now, right, this is why, you know, if it's too short, you might be missing out information. And you haven't said anything about here about drinking and cocaine. You mention abusers substances, but nowhere here do you say what those particular substances are. So you need to really say that. I mean, it's again, like if we, you know, go back to the notes. You need to make, I mean, he would actually, the GP would actually probably know that. But still, substances, and she last used a cocaine 3 days before admission. Well, no, it was 1 day. So she was taking a Coke the day before she self-admitted. So you could have mentioned that. You know, last used Coke the 28th of February, and she admitted herself on March the 1st, on the next day. So I would have mentioned something. Admitted herself following a cocaine episode the day before or something. But, you know, I mean, you know, here it says like she used coke the day before. So I would have included that. Anything else about coke? Minimal focuses, progress, not on medication abusing substances. Last used coke. Yeah, well, yeah, here. Last used coke the day before. So I wouldn't put it, well, where? Well, I don't know. Somewhere, you could have put it here. Somewhere here. Presented with history of Burma, which is aggressive. Please note she had taken cocaine the day before admission. You could have put it there. Or presented with history following a coke-related incident the day before. I don't know. You could have put it there. But still, so she good insight. Just no. There's a medication that abuses substances. Again, he didn't mention anything about alcohol. So again, the GP might know this, but still, because you mentioned substances, but you don't say what those are. Mr. Taylor's, hey, Mr. Miss Taylor's discharge punishment 5 grams every night for the more. You continue Miss Taylor's care. Okay, now that isn't bad. It's a little bit short. You could put some more information there. You know, you could put some stuff in about the nursing management. Anything that you think the GP should know. Yeah? Anything that you think might be pertinent. So you could have put something in here about this. So in terms of the English, in terms of grammar and vocabulary, that's good. Just a little bit short. If you put a few more sentences in, that would definitely make it better, I think. Oh, that's what we have here. Okay, well, that's not working. Let's have a look. Who's this? Dr. Najat. Can you see there? Yeah? Are you here? Yeah? Right. Miss Bethany Taylor's for the fine to request ongoing hair. Miss Taylor, who's scheduled to be discharged from decompensated schizophrenia. Okay. Miss Taylor was admitted to hospital with complaints of audiovisual hallucination and delusion. Now, the warder was asking before if it's complaints or a complaint. Well, here you've got more than one a symptom, so complaints. On examination, she was agitated and aggressive, therefore she was going to please note she was non-adherent to medications and gave a history of cocaine and alcohol misuse. Now, you see, we have a sentence here that introduces it. Now, you still could have mentioned that she took coke the previous day, because that might have been, you know, pertinent. But still, that's a good sentence, yeah? Gave a history of cocaine and alcohol misuse or abuse. So you could put one like something like, including a cocaine-related incident the day before, or something such as that, right? So we know that this occurred just before she came in. Okay, that's pretty good. Today's review, Miss Taylor's right now, make it possessive. Miss Taylor's condition was much improved. She stopped having delusions and she had no signs of thought block edema. Thinking was less organized. Does this not seem contradictory? Her thinking was less organized. Her judgment was fair. So if your thinking is not organized, doesn't that imply it's not focused? If it's not so good, yeah? What do you think? Do you think this sentence here is a little bit contradictory. Well, less organized and she can focus. It seemed, you know, if you, well, to me, it does seem to indicate contradiction. Now, more organized. That, I think, makes a bit more sense. Focus on it, it was good. It's closeness, not taking off. Really? Really? So if you take, if you drink and take some Coke, your condition might deteriorate. Well, it could well, it could well do so. If not, right. Can deteriorate if not follow, or she does not follow the advice. She's being discharged. Miss Taylor's. Don't forget your possessive. Miss Taylor's condition. So that isn't bad. That's pretty good. In fact, that is pretty good. Pretty good. Somebody's got. She did not adhere. Well, no. If you're using simple or past, it will be she did not adhere. She did not adhere, or she was non-adherent. That would do fine. Not adherent. Okay. Not adhering to. You can use the continuous form of if it's ongoing, because that's one, you know, that's one thing that we use continuous forms for. If it's ongoing condition, you could say she was not adhering to medications in general if it's a condition, but if it's one event, she did not adhere one time, was non-adherent one time. Adhering means in general, a continuous form and condition. So that's pretty good. So you can see how we've got a sentence here that mentions alcohol and Coke. Yeah, so I would have put that in like in this one here. So about alcohol and Coke, and that's all we have to do, including a Coke incident the day before. Okay, Dr. Foster. Oh, this looks like yours. Discharge Miss Taylor back into your care. 18 days observation schizophrenia. Miss Taylor presented a history of auditory command. Command wouldn't be commands in plural. Hallucinations. The former was inciting the former. Well, right. If you've got command, because it wasn't just one, you know, it was hallucinations and commands. You've got to watch your subject verb. The former were, because it's plural, were inciting her to self-harm, and there's also the presence of the illusion. She was not adherent to advice to use Coke the day before. Agitated, aggressive. Okay. This looks a little bit short too. Doc, let me just have a look. How many have you got in the body here? What's this? This is like 171. So 171, if you, well, it's supposed to be in the body, right? But if we, if we have a look, it's like still, now, so now it's 194, but it's only 171 in this part, in the body. So I think you could have put a couple more sentences here. We've got the nursing management. Sorry. My alarm. I've got a lesson in 10 minutes. So I'll have to wrap this up in a bit. Now let me just turn this alarm off. Okay, so you could have put some more in, you know, maybe put a management thing in, but it's okay. She seems a little bit short. little bit short. Citing, did you mention history of alcohol? Did you mention alcohol anywhere? No? Okay. I would have put something there about alcohol. Ever since been making good progress, let's see, blocking, such as alcohol or cocaine. I don't think it's or, I think it's and. I think she does them both. Abuse of alcohol or cocaine. Now flipped with discharge and continuous follow-up. Discharged on repeatable and requires. I think we need a verb in front of this. It seems for the patient's possessive S well-being. Okay, please do not hesitate to contact me sincerely. Okay, so that isn't bad. It's not too bad. Again, I've noticed all three of these so far are a little bit short. You're all hovering about 170, 180. They all seem a little bit short. I'm sure that there's more that you could add, you know, more useful information. Okay, who's this next one? Dr. Saunders. Don't know if he's around. Is he here? He, she, can't see them. Are you here? Are you here, Doc? No. Do you think you could achieve a B? Well, I don't see any reason why not. It depends on the task that you get on the day. It depends on the task that you get on the day. But in general, your writing is quite good in terms of the English part. In any case, there's not many mistakes there. So, writing to refer Mr. Taylor back into your care, been discharged with symptoms of schizophrenia on the 1st of March. Mr. Taylor suffered medical complaints of audio, communicating time stuff, visual, political leaders. Well, you don't need an article there. Aggressive responding to internal stimuli, activities. Nothing about Coke. Nothing about Coke here. No. Nothing about alcohol or Coke. Okay. Today's assessment. This was good for this. Stop medicine. Stop her medication, or stop taking her medicines or medication. Or if she will stop the medication or starts drug abuse. Please note, non-compliant. Well, you can use that, but we're not supposed to use it now. Non-adherent. Nursing management should ensure regulated medicine to help the assess signs, psychosis and control and individual thoughts. That isn't bad either. That's not bad either. But again, you don't really say much about the alcohol of a Coke. I would have probably mentioned, you know, because it's like we need to keep her off booze and Coke, but she was doing Coke the day before, so it's obvious she's a cokehead. She's an addict, you know. So you could have mentioned something about it. I don't know. Anyway, that's not bad, not so bad. So just watch that. We didn't need that article there because it's leaders in general. Stop taking, drug abuse. So that isn't bad. But again, I would have been inclined to put something about alcohol and cocaine. That's 251. That's pretty good, you see. You can put a lot of detail in. 251. That's good. That's good. Right, I might just have time for this last one very quickly. And I've got to go. Kind. Is he or she? Are they here? Maybe not. Okay. A 35-year-old what? So don't need that article. Just put 35 years old. Working to Mr. Taylor's doing now. She's going to be discharged soon. why do we have this now? She's going to do discharge soon. Why didn't you just make it relative pronoun? I'm going to just soon. I'm about to update you regarding Miss Taylor, who was admitted schizophrenia and is going to be discharged soon instead of now. Your further follow-up would be appreciated. Okay. You could rework that introduction a bit. I mean, if we look at these previous ones, yeah. So we've got two clauses referring back into your care, and we've got a relative pronoun, a relative clause. That's good. Okay. I think the other letters did the same more or less. Two clauses. That's good. Yeah. Two clauses, relative clause. That's pretty good. Yeah. So I would do it something like that. Okay. Where are we? Okay. Yeah. So I would have reworked that introduction a bit. She has been admitted to hospital. She has been. Why is it present perfect? Shouldn't it be past perfect or simple past? I put something like, and I would always put a name first instead of a pronoun. Miss Taylor was, because we know exactly when, so you can use the simple past, yeah? Miss Taylor was admitted to hospital on the 1st of March 2018 with complaints of hallucinations and delusions, hypertension. Okay. Agitated and aggressive, bit short sentence. Agitated and aggressive. So was prescribed Risperidone. Okay. Okay. Again, you could have mentioned that she did cope the day before. You could have mentioned that. On review today, I noticed the improvement of symptoms. Well, she's been there for 3 weeks. This is a bit short. Let me have a look at this one. Even including the closing, this is 155. No, that's far too short. 155 including this. Way too short. You would certainly get a penalty there, because 155 is a lot of stuff that you've missed. On review today, what about the previous 18 days, over 2.5 weeks? What about that? So that's all gone. According to my assessment, I advise taking one. She's being discharged today. So it's not in the future, isn't it, taking place today? The 18th, isn't it? So far too short, only 155. You need to add at least a paragraph there. If you look at these previous ones, this one's 251. So there's quite a lot of extra stuff, more details, more information. Yeah. So I'm sorry, Doc, but that needs a bit of extra work, I think. Okay. Well, I don't know. It said she was being discharged on 18th. I don't know. But even so, it's still short. It's still short, isn't it? 155. 100, was it 151? 151 words. Sorry, 155 words. That's still short. You could put some more information in that one. Right, I'll have to do these other two another day. I've got to get off. I've got some students coming in a second. So I'll save this. I'm going to stop the recording in a second. I'll put the letters in easy class, and I'll put this video on YouTube, and I'll post the link a bit later on. Okay, so I'll see you later. If you've got any questions, you can post them in Telegram. You can take a look at that file. I sent you the criteria, yeah, and I'll see you a bit later on. Okay.